Thank you so much, Alicia, for joining me today for this podcast, which we're going to do on economy. So, first of all, how are you? How are you
Mhm.
doing? How's everything at your end?
Good man. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time, but now we are getting frequent. My plan is to give at
Yeah.
least two to three podcasts in two podcasts in a week. It's my try,
Mhm.
but my
Okay.
pace. So I
That's
am
good.
positive that we can give at least one podcast in every week. So that would be a better idea
Yeah,
to do
that's
it.
more doable.
Yeah, and
So,
from our upcoming podcast, what we're going to do is we'll be doing it live in the office space, or we can obviously discuss where we want to do it, so it could be a better idea, right?
okay,
All right.
got it.
So, all right, let's
So
just
what's today's
hit to the
what's
topic.
today's topic? Mhm.
Economy. It's the
Okay.
economy, the messed up economy
So
we have right now, right? Everyone is
yeah,
blaming
yeah, yeah,
everyone is blaming
yeah, exactly.
Imran Khan did that, Imran Khan
Mhm.
did this and all that. So what are your views on it?
So
Well, let's start from your point. What do you think about it?
it's a mess, man. What about you? Like, did you vote PTI? Well,
Yeah, I did.
what's your viewpoint? You
I
did.
did voted for PTI in 2018, and I did that in
Okay.
2013 as well. And I'll be doing
hmm
it in the upcoming elections as well.
Okay. And what's the reason for this? Why
The
are you so
reason for
happy
that
with
is
PTI's performance?
that if we go to a little bit, if you can say, in the history, then let's see that
hmm
the People's Party, the Bhutto Saab Tariq, which is going on, that
hmm
shenanigan. So they are the third generation in the politics, right? And we
Okay.
talk about the Noon League, the Nawaz League, and all that. They have now
hmm
their second generation in the politics. And
Okay.
if we talk about the PTI, they got the first chance, and it's their first generation or first tenure which they are doing. And everyone is still blaming
hmm
on Imran Khan that in his regime everything is like sky high. So don't you think
hmm
that it's kind of a little bit, obviously we might differ, your opinion and my opinion might differ,
Yeah,
and
of
that's
course.
that's the beauty of it. It has to differ.
hmm
uh
hmm
I mean, like, if there are two families who have been ruling the country for like five generations, three for PPP and two for Noon League, and still
hmm
nothing happened. And on the first tenure of PTI, we are discussing that he is the root cause of all the problems. I mean, that's not even close to possible. That's unfair for him. I mean, when
Okay.
five generations were unable to do anything, and he's just trying to
hmm
clear out the mess which those five generations created. That's the point which I'm trying to make, and that's the only reason I still support him even till date. I know
Okay.
everything is messed up at this moment, pricing, the petrol price, the
So
daily
basically,
expenses, everything. Yeah.
you support him because he's new.
It's not like that he's new. It's like since like five generations, two families which have been ruling for like five generations, they didn't do shit, right? And how can we judge a
hmm
person on his like 3 or 4 years of service for the country? It's way too early. It's way too early to call him a liar, to call him a wrong person or anything like that. I think it's way too early.
Okay.
So
All right.
we have
Well,
to give him another tenure. This is what I think.
okay. I mean, it's causing a lot of pain to a lot of people. I mean, the inflation is nuts, crazy.
No doubt.
I mean, I don't know how. I mean, I was just in a restaurant and they get paid the waiters get paid 8,000 rupees a month. How can they sustain themselves off that? Especially if the rupee goes to 200 rupees,
Mhm.
$200, sorry, 200 rupees per dollar. How is that sustainable for them? It's not, right? It's going to be very painful. So it's an experiment that's causing a lot of pain to a lot of people. And I've never voted. I don't believe in the system. I don't believe like democracy
Mhm.
can make any progress. But this is just horrible, man. This is I've never seen before. I mean, like, okay, here's one thing. Uh, PLMN or Noon League, whatever they were called,
Uh-huh.
uh, they weren't good, obviously not,
Mhm.
but they weren't. You know how it calls slowly boiling the frog alive?
Correct.
I
Yeah.
didn't feel that I was being burnt because things were so slow. You know what I mean? But this is just ridiculous. This is like, I never read news, but I have to read news now because every day the prices are going up. And so it's nuts, man. I don't know how you can support this, but but cool. It's a very painful experiment.
Well, Ali, that's the beauty of having the podcast with you, because we on all the topics which we discuss and all the topics which we
Mhm.
start, the viewers might think that we discuss everything before doing this podcast, or no. You know
Oh
that
no.
right after, when I was doing the smoking thing and completing my cup of tea, we just discussed that, let's just see how it goes. And it's not like the podcast does not have to be, or this kind of discussion does not have to be one-sided. It has to be, one person has to
Mhm.
be against the other argument, because that is the reason why we're doing it. The reason for
Yeah.
pulling
In
up all
fact,
this social, yeah.
mhm.
The reason, what I was saying
I
is, the
never.
reason for. Mhm. Go ahead.
Mhm. I never even knew you were a PTI supporter, man. I think I might have to unfriend you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Okay.
the thing is, I mean, points which I have in my mind, and all the things which I am putting in front of you right now, is
Okay.
it all comes from the street. Uh, Before, what we were seeing is like our exports were dead, our imports were like sky high. Everything
Mhm.
was like messed up. I mean, when we talk about the other regimes, the and again, I agree to that part, that democracy is not, it's not the way of living for this country. I'm not saying
No,
anything
it's not.
bad about my country. I love this country to death,
Mhm.
and I'm always available for this country. But the point is that this country can never sustain in democracy. This is my opinion, because whenever
Mhm.
we see that there were the martial laws or the military regimes, those were like amazing. People don't like Pervez Musharraf. I respect that.
Mhm.
But if we talk
Mhm.
about his regime or his tenure, his era, that was like a golden time, right? And
Well, man, it wasn't really a golden time, brother. I mean, there was a lot of funds flowing in from the US. That's when the
yeah,
whole war in Afghanistan started, and it
correct.
was free money. It was free money. You give them, some airspace, you give them some, logistics lines. They're going to
Mhm.
give you a lot of money, and that's what the economy was sustaining on that time. So people have a misconception. I mean, he didn't really do much,
Mhm.
but the US was doing a lot next door, and at that time, Afghanistan was in 100%. It was full capacity. The US was there.
Mhm.
And this was before any sort of pullbacks of troops and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So everything was 100% on their side in the US. So that's a lot of free money, brother.
correct. On that part, what we can see, and what we discuss is like, you're absolutely right that the money was coming into the country from US side, or whatever side it was, so that's why the economy was stable.
Okay.
Sure. But what I was saying is, just like if we talk about the normal person perspective, and they were like, if you talk about that, the money was coming in from US or anything like that, I
Mhm.
understand that. The Afghan war and all that, which was going on in his regime, I agree. That's fine. But the thing is, if we talk about the end user, right? What was the result end user was getting? Everything was under control, right? So, in my perspective, in my thinking, what I think is, if we talk about the normal perception that we have in our community, that is, uh, if you are linked, not everyone is like that, but if we talk about in general, if you are with someone and you are giving benefit to that person, then you're going to stick a little bit longer than which you've expected. So it's like a give and take scenario in everything. We were helping out in that
But
Afghan
dude,
kind of scenario and all that, but we were getting a lot of you can say
mhm.
dollars, millions of billions of dollars coming into our economy, and it was
Yeah,
getting stronger. So I think that was fine.
that
No
was, first of
disrespect
all,
to
it didn't
Afghan
require.
people and all that.
No, okay, I understand, but anybody could have done that. I could have went there, or you could have went there, or even this guy Imran Khan could have went there and got the money from the US. What do you have to do? Give land? Okay, here's some airspace, here's some logistics, transport networks. You can use our country to use the port and take your goods to Afghanistan, because Afghanistan is a landlocked country, right? They
Correct.
needed Pakistan to get their goods from there, and they cannot go through Iran and India. It's way too complex. It's way too far
Right.
away. So, I mean, it's just geography. I mean,
Mhm.
what has he done? There was no administrative genius. There was no, any economic genius. There was nothing. And plus, that money, where did it go? Was it used for any sort of sustainable activity?
Mhm.
Nothing, right? So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
You may not know this, or maybe you do. Do you know how Hyundai was started?
Nope.
Basically, what happened in North Korea, they were facing a very similar situation.
Hmm.
They had a war going on the north, right? The South Koreans, and the
Yeah.
US was involved. So what happened was they were getting a lot of money from the US as well, right?
Hmm.
Their economy was flooded with US dollars, and their cities and ports and lots of tracts of lands were used for US military bases. But they did something smart. They said, hey, you guys are here. We're going to fix up your vehicles. We're
Mhm.
going to, make your trucks. We're going to fix your trucks. We're going to do all this for you. And that is how Hyundai started. Right.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay.
that's how it started. They were fixing military vehicles for the US. What were we doing? We were just taking the money and just spending it.
Yeah,
And
we're just
now
filling
that the
filling out
US
the
is
pockets,
gone,
right?
we have nothing. Exactly. So, short-sightedness. I mean, he was what can I say, man? It wasn't anything special for Musharraf either.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense as well. But again, if we talk about the whole economy shenanigan, whoever did that, whoever regime it was, but at the end, it was a beneficial scenario for the end user. And since we're talking about the
So,
end user, so that brings me to another question. What do you think? How do
so
you see the next? You want to say something? So go ahead.
yeah, I'm saying basically, so you're saying we should be renting out our land to foreign occupiers for other countries,
No,
and
no, 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 no.
that is
We
how
should.
we earn our living.
I did not say that. You are trying to get me involved in some kind of bullshit scenario. Don't do that. So I did not mean it.
Mhm.
What I think is only if we talk about that specific scenario. I mean, that was a little
Mhm.
bit beneficial for everything. I'm not saying that that history has to be repeated in that kind of scenario. It should
Mhm.
not be
Mhm.
because it was a cluster mess up on all of the sides, our side, Afghanistan, and US as well. So every side
Yeah.
was getting knocked out on many things. So it was just like a leg pulling
Mhm.
scenario, and it was a messed up scenario. I respect that. I don't
It was.
want that anything to happen again. First thing. So,
Mhm.
second thing I would like to ask or start talking about that point is if you see we were talking about the economy. So what do you think? What are your you can say what's your opinion? How do you think the next 2 or 3 years are going to be, or or till the next you can say the election time, what do you think our economy will take? How many years it's going to take to get stable?
I don't think it's going to go anywhere, brother, because number one, IMF has us by the balls. So we
Okay.
have to pay interest payments, right?
Hmm.
So they print the money out of thin air. They have money printers, right?
Correct.
US is a major shareholder in the IMF. All these rich countries, they give us their paper money, and they tell us, hey, you can use this paper money, and you have to give us interest, and we have to pay them back in their own currency, right? And we have
Correct.
to pay interest. So
Yeah.
our currency is pretty much worthless when paying back these loans. We have to transfer it into their own currency. So we cannot print out the same kind of money that they can.
Hmm.
We have to convert our rupees, right, into dollars, and then we
Yeah.
have to pay them back. So this means that they have, a long-term income from us.
Hmm.
Basically, all our taxes, where are they going? They're going straight to the IMF, right? They got us.
Correct.
They basically conquered this country, to be honest, man. They conquered it. I mean, in the past, when people conquered other lands, right? I
Hmm.
mean, look at Turkey. Turkey conquered Algeria, they conquered Egypt. There was not much in those regions, right? There's not much resources. There's not much to basically, in terms of wealth, that kind of stuff. But the main thing people conquer for is taxes.
Yeah.
The more people you have under your umbrella, the more taxes you're going to get,
Correct.
and that will sustain your economy and your
Economy.
empire. And that is what they're doing. They basically, I mean, like the moment the taxes go to someone else,
Hmm.
right? Sorry. The moment the taxes go to someone else, that means they're in control of the government, brother.
Correct.
Because, yeah. So our taxes are going to them, and you'll see these taxes increase because these debts can never be paid off. They're not designed to be paid off.
Yeah,
So, and if you can't pay them,
that's a kind of a flaw which I think it is that these I don't see them going anywhere for the next 50 or 60 years. I don't think that that's going to
it's
be
gonna be,
at
the only way
least.
to get out of IMF is to basically say, we don't want to pay you back. Many countries have done that. Algeria has done that. And, there's not much they can do. They cannot invade you. They would just won't give you other loans and you'll be on hard times, but it's worth it. I mean, it's your freedom.
Yeah, but the cost of freedom is going to be really higher. What do you think?
In the long term, I mean, do
Yeah.
you want your kids to pay off these loans? Right? I mean, it's not even the interest compounds. All right. We
Mm.
don't pay back these loans, the interest will compound into more interest and more interest. And
Correct.
this will go on the future generations, right? So, and if we don't pay them back, We have to give them our natural resources. We have to give them our ports. We have to give them our land. We have to give them, different things like utility companies,
Hmm.
water, whatever they want. We have to give that to them.
Correct, makes sense. And but if we okay, let's okay, all right, that's fine. So next, if we talk about the scenarios or the problems that a normal person, or you can say a normal person is facing on daily basis. I mean, right now, the cost of living is in our country is like I feel really bad in saying it, but the cost of living is like
Mhm.
sky high. I mean,
Yeah,
it does not make any sense. People are trying to
it,
relocate from our country. So
mhm.
the demise of a country starts when the people of that country starts planning on moving to some other country or anything like that, right? So I think that has already
Yeah.
started.
But people, again, this is a third world country. People don't even have that much income to move anywhere else.
Mm.
The thing is that, paying taxes is not going to benefit anyone. People think that it's going to the country. People have a misconception that paying taxes will somehow benefit poor people. But in this country, that's not the truth. I mean, in other countries, yeah, that might be true to some
Mm.
extent. But
Mm.
these taxes are going straight to the IMF, going to the
Correct.
rich countries, man. So we're
So no
basically taking
matter
our
no
money
matter
from.
how many, no
Mhm.
matter whatever the amount we is collected, that's still not going to benefit the normal consumer person. It's going to be going back to the countries or to the organizations who have lent us the money.
Exactly, exactly. And these guys will never be paying taxes. Imran Khan will not pay taxes. Does he pay taxes? No, he doesn't. He's living off taxes. How the hell can he pay taxes? Same thing with the other ministers, right? They don't pay taxes themselves, and they will never be liable to pay taxes. They'll put the taxes on the middle class and the poor, and these are decisions that we did not enter into. Did you enter into an agreement with the IMF? Did I enter into an agreement? No, these guys did,
No, we
but
don't.
they get off scot-free and they are not liable for the decisions. But our kids will be the ones paying these taxes in the future,
Correct.
right? They'll be the one paying these loans back, and it's going to be backbreaking for them. But these guys, they won't be dealing with that because they've already made it. They made that. They got lots of money from the government. They
Yeah.
plundered a lot of treasury from the government. So they're it doesn't affect them. And when someone is not affected by their own decisions, how can they make good decisions?
Absolutely.
Think about it.
Yes, the point I was making is, let's just say that if the government, any government, I'm not talking about specific government, if they are planning to take any kind of loan from any organization like IMF or anything like that, which is going to be messing our whole economy more,
Mhm.
which is the more harm which is going to be happening in the future. So, don't you think there should be a kind of a voting or a polling or online voting scenario that the normal consumer person, a normal human being like you and me, we can actually give our opinion, or we can at least vote if we should go for it
That's
or
the
not.
problem with democracy. That's the problem with democracy. I mean, think
Yeah.
about it. When you're with your friends, you're with
Mm.
five people of your in a car, right?
Mhm.
And you guys have trouble deciding on where to go to eat,
Correct.
don't you? Right? You guys
Absolutely.
vote on where to go to eat? No, you don't,
No, we
right?
don't.
I mean, yeah, the guy who's most experienced, like
Mm.
for example, if you know the city, you know the good spots, you know the good deals, we're going to listen to you, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, like if I have no knowledge about the city or this topic, how can I even comment on it? How can I tell you, Willie, let's go eat here when I don't know what the food there is like or what the prices are like? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, right? So I'm going to trust you because you're the guy who has experience in this matter, right?
Right.
So that's
Right.
the problem with democracy. Democracy has an unequal, like most people are not knowledgeable about all these things that all the levers of government, they have no knowledge on them. So they're going to come to
Mm.
a really bad decision. Even if you ask them to vote, they're going to go for what's popular or what's trendy, because these things require deep understanding of economics, of consequences, of
Mm.
future implications. And people do not have the time, or even sometimes, just don't have the knowledge, or, they're oblivious to all this kind of stuff. So it's a really bad form of government. And it always leads to, destruction, to be honest.
Yeah,
Right?
yes,
So,
absolutely. I can see that right now the economy is totally messed up. I mean, every single person is just bragging about, not bragging about, is just crying on all these kind of
mhm.
things. The cost of living is really
Oh,
higher
yeah.
at this moment. I mean, the cost
And
of
they still
eggs.
don't understand. And most people still don't understand the fundamentals, right? Even though it's affecting them and that kind of stuff, they still think, some people still think, the other governments prior to this one are going to make it better. But again, it's the entire system that's wrong, to be
Correct.
honest, because
Absolutely.
democracy,
Absolutely.
democracy has
Yeah.
existed for how long? How long has democracy existed for? Tell me. You tell me, really. What is the most longest form of government historically for human beings? Is it democracy? No. What is it?
No, it's not. I think that was military regime, I believe.
No, monarchy.
Oh, seriously?
We were a yes, we were a monarchy. The Delhi Sultanate, the Mughals, they
Mm-hmm.
were all
Mm-hmm.
monarchs, right? So the most enduring and the most successful of all regimes is monarchy. And people don't like to hear this because there's a lot of bad talk around monarchies and stuff.
Yeah,
But
correct.
look at all the monarchies today, right? If Pakistan had oil, we
Hmm.
would be like Venezuela, guaranteed. We would be like Venezuela. We would not be like Saudi Arabia or, Qatar or Bahrain or these countries. No,
Yeah.
we would be like Saudi Arabia. The reason is because the problem with democracy is there's no continuity, right? I come in and I'm new and I'm in this office and I'm going to leave after 4 years. So in those 4 years, what's my goal? To get as much money as possible, to fill my pockets, my kids,
Yeah.
and then go fly off and retire, right? My
Right.
kids aren't going to be in government, right? And if I am a leader if I'm a monarch, I'm going to
Hmm.
pass on something to my kids. This is my family line that
Yeah.
I'm talking about, right? So I'm going to leave them something good, right? So
Correct. So in that
yeah, so
scenario,
there is.
what you're saying is what actually has happened, which we saw that monarchy scenarios is that whenever a father is about to die or retire or anything, he's creating his successor, and he is passing
Exactly.
on that seat to his successor. So
And
at
he's
the back of
been,
his mind, what he will be having always in his mind is that what if I lead a bad organization for my son or for my
mhm.
whoever? So that's going to be causing a problem for him in future, and people are going to blame
Of
him. So
course,
he has to think
and
about that and
he's
work
been,
according to it.
and he's been handed something by his ancestors, right?
Correct.
Like it's just like a family business, to be honest. Like if I'm handed a family business for generations and I'm the one that screws it up, I'm going to be remembered as the guy who fucked up the whole thing. And I don't want to be that guy. And no one wants to be that guy. So same
Yeah.
thing applies to monarchies. It's,
Mhm.
there was a certain pride that exists in monarchies that doesn't exist in democracies, right? I
Yeah.
mean, look at for example, look at the emir of Dubai or Abu Dhabi or these places. Do you think they're going to let their trash pile up on their cities? No,
Never.
they're not going to let trash. Never. They're going to keep their cities clean. They're going to keep their ports, working in working order. Their airports are going to be the best. The reason is
Mhm.
because that reflects on their respect, right?
Correct.
They don't want to be reflected as an idiot or someone that cannot manage because that's not a good thing for them or their family line. So that's why monarchies are doing good, man. I mean, look at all the monarchies right now. Look at Jordan. They have no oil, but they're doing better than us, man.
Yes.
They're doing pretty good, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
So I mean, with
That's
democracies,
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. You're absolutely right. I totally agree to that point. So, let's just talk about the conclusion now. So, what you're suggesting, or what your opinion, not suggesting. Obviously, we're not in the right position to suggest anything, but in our opinion, you were saying that the resolution, or you can say the answer to this whole economy crisis question is going to be, it's not going to be sorted out with the change of the government. It has to be a change in the whole system.
it
And
has to be a
we
change in the system. Yeah,
Mhm.
it has to be a change in the system. And I would even say that, like, I don't see any hope, to be honest. I've said this before, politics is a rich man's game. I personally don't waste a
Correct.
lot of time in politics,
Mhm.
but there is no hope, man. I mean, like in the past, we were a great empire here. This region used to be the most productive in the world,
Correct.
right? And since these foreign, democracy came here, it's just been a third world cesspool. I mean, I don't see any benefit of it, but that's just the way it is.
Absolutely. We are just going down on daily basis, and we don't know
Mhm.
what's going to be happening next and where
Yeah,
we will be
and
standing in the next 5 or 10 years.
exactly. And listen, man, these guys in government, like they are not good people. They
Yeah.
are not people that know what they're doing.
Mhm.
In fact, they have never really been. I mean, for example, would Nawaz Sharif run his businesses like he ran Pakistan?
Never.
Never. Would any of these guys run their businesses like they ran Pakistan? Never. They would never do it because, Their business is something that they own. They don't really, they don't want to think they own this country. They just want to use it, and they
Use
want to
it.
fill up their
Exactly.
pockets, and that's it. And they're gone, right? Where are these guys? They're gone. They're not going to come back. These guys,
Absolutely.
they made up their money, and they made
Yeah,
these bad decisions. And they're in,
they've made like tons of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and now they're
of
gone, and
course,
they're never going to come back.
but yeah. And the worst part is that their decisions are still affecting us, even
Correct.
though they are out. They're out of the system.
But
Their
we're still
decisions are affecting.
we are the one, we are the people, our generation is the people, are those people who are paying that price for, again,
Exactly.
for those
We suffer the
decisions which we,
consequences.
for those decisions which we did not even agree upon.
Exactly. We suffer the consequences, and that's just the way it is.
Well, I'm going to be really honest here, Ali. In the start of this podcast, my thinking was a little bit different, but at the end, it's a little
Oh my
bit different
God.
now. So that's, you've given me a lot of things to digest and to think about it. I mean, like that's
Okay.
amazing. So that would
I hope people
that's
can
really
make it.
nice. Yeah, let's see what people say. So what I'm
Yeah.
going to do next is, Ali, right now, since it's going to be closing of this podcast right now, since
Mhm.
we are planning to, do live podcasts and do, more podcasts on a frequent basis. So
Mhm.
I will be talking to you hopefully soon. Thank you so much for joining me today on this amazing and a controversial topic which is going on in the whole country. So thank you so much for joining, my friend. I'll look forward to talk to you soon again.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care, man. Goodbye.